Hello everyone, my name is Hemant and I'm currently a student at NITI Mumbai. Today I'm going to discuss how to do capacitated k-means clustering in Python. So before I get onto the algorithm or the coding, let's look at some of the applications of this capacitated clustering. So this capacitated clustering means you cluster the data points such that each cluster weight or the count in each cluster is same, something like that. So these are very well required in work allocation problems or sales zone allocation problems, last mile distribution problems or capacitated vehicle routings, and also mobile tower location problems. We all know k-means algorithm. Now, why this capacitated k-means is important? So let me demonstrate it with an example. Now I have a data set where I have 130 points, where I want to make these 130 points into 7 clusters. So when I run the conventional k-means algorithm, what I get is a cluster this way, like the picture is showing. But in some of the clusters, I have only 7 points. And in some other clusters, I have almost 30 points, where the average count per cluster will be 18.57. Well, I don't want like this. I want clusters such that in each cluster the number of points is same. In this case, I'm saying. So the k-means doesn't really control this. We don't have a control on what is the content in each cluster. We all get clusters which are close by and we get k different clusters, but we don't have the control on how many points are there, on what is the weights associated with each of the cluster. We may not be able to control it. So how do we go about it? So how we will try to attempt this is, we will try to manually move these centroids which are formed. The triangles are basically the centroids from the k-means algorithm. So we'll say move orange to the right and say we will move white to little upwards. Then we'll check. Again, reallocate all the points to the closest centroid and we will check whether the requirement will be fulfilled or no. So in first attempt we will not get, obviously. Then we'll move one more centroid maybe, or bring back white to the original position and maybe move violet and so on. So after doing all these kinds of things, we may be able to get an optimal solution. You can see here the movement of these centroids. We cannot frame a particular rule for this. It depends on data set, how the data set is going to react. So what we can do is, since there is no rule-based heuristics we can apply, we will go with meta-heuristics to solve this problem. Some of the popular meta-heuristics are genetic algorithm and second is simulated annealing algorithm. So after using these kinds of meta-heuristics, we can maybe arrange the centroids in an optimal solution, in an optimal way such that our requirement of equally sized clusters will be achieved. So in this example, I will go about with the genetic algorithm. So the process would be like this. First, we start with the conventional k-means algorithm where we generate the list of centroids. Then what we do is we create a penalty function where we assess how far it is from our optimal solution. So I will use a sum square error. So when all the clusters have equal size, the sum square will be ideally 0. So initially it may be very high, then the genetic algorithm has to bring it down. So then after forming this penalty function, we deploy the genetic algorithm to modify the centroid values and to minimize the penalty values. So after a couple of iterations, what it will do is it will give us the optimal cluster IDs and the optimal penalty function value. So this is as simple as that. So I have already did it on the data set which I have already shown. The results are this way. When I completed the clustering process, I could get clusters which are sizes of say 18, 19 only. So this is very close to the average value which we want. While our initial cluster count of clusters is this way, 13, 15, 20, 27, 7 and so on. So here you can see the map of optimized clusters and here you can see the map of initial clusters. So this is how, by using genetic algorithm and modifying the k-means algorithm, we will be able to get this capacitated k-means solution. Let me show it to you on the Jupyter notebook. Okay, now you can see my Jupyter notebook. I will share this notebook file in the link in the description. So now let me explain each block here. These are some of the libraries which I've used. I've used Pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib, genetic algorithm, and scikit-learn. Scikit-learn is for doing k-means algorithm. So let me just run it. After loading the libraries, if you have, if you're getting any errors in this library, that means you don't have that library. So you need to install it from the Python, what to say, directory. Now, this is the basic data set. I've just created some random data set to demonstrate it here. So if you want to load your data, you can go about it. But this code is basically for two-dimensional clustering I did. If you want to do three-dimensional clustering, please go through my code and modify accordingly. So let me load the data now. Now we need to do normalizing the data. You must know why normalizing is important for k-means. If you are unaware of it, you can watch one of my earlier videos on k-means clustering where I explained why normalizing is important. After normalizing, what we do is we run the basic conventional k-means algorithm and see how the results are. So here you can see the data points are 230. The number of clusters we gave is 9. If we want, we can change it. Let me change it to say 11 clusters we want. So now again, the map with the 11 clusters has come. So the triangles are basically the centroids and the circles are the data points. So here you can see the count in each cluster as of now. It is ranging from a minimum of 12 to a maximum of 29 or no 32. So we want each cluster to have count very close to 20.9, that is 21. So we'll see whether the GA does that or not. So now I have created this function. So this function is required to enable genetic algorithm. So this function requires an input called CNTDS. It's the basically the gene file or the gene array coming from the genetic algorithm. So after getting that gene list, I convert into a NumPy array. Then I add it to the initial clusters formed from the k-means algorithm, and then we assign the cluster IDs. I'm not explaining the entire code, but if you go through it, you will probably understand it. After getting the cluster IDs, I generated something called as a cluster counter. This means how much is the count in each cluster. Because I want to optimize the count. I want to balance the count in each of the cluster. But if your aim is something different, like say you want to ensure that each delivery person has equal sum of weight of parcels, that also you can do by slightly modifying over here. This all you have to do is you have to modify this line and put whatever the function you want. So after that, these three lines basically imply the sum square error part. After doing that, the penalty value is returned. So the penalty value in this case is the sum square error directly. So the below you can see one more function. This is just like the earlier function, just that we don't return the penalty value, but we return the cluster IDs. So this is required for generating the final output and all. So I run that part of the code also. Now we come to the genetic algorithm part of it. So these are the parameters of the genetic algorithm. If you want to understand that, I suggest you to go through this website or the URL where each and every line is very explained in good detail. So now here I am giving I have defined the variable boundaries where I want to send in that CNTDS list, and I've defined maximum iterations to be 1000 and so on, similar values on the different parameters. Now let's run this part. So now you can see the genetic algorithm is running. It's about 10% right now. All right, the genetic algorithm has been completed. The objective function optimally it is saying that it is 12.9. That is the sum square error minimum it could observe is 12.9. You can see the sum square error. The objective value was initially more than 700. Slowly it has come down to the 12.9 value. So that is how the genetic algorithm learned which kinds of movements on centroids is working and which is not working, and finally it could give us an optimal solution. So now let's compare the output. So here you can see the optimized count in each cluster is almost everything is 22, 21, 20, 19. So it is ranging from 19 to 22. So this is very close to the average count value, which is 21. but initially we could see the range is from almost 12 to 32, but right now it is 19 to 22. So the what to say, we could optimize it very well using genetic algorithm by adding it onto the k-means algorithm. So here you can see the maps of optimized clusters and initial clusters. You can see over here the what to say, initially the orange is on the top, but now it has come slightly to the left side, and the white cluster initially was in right middle, now it has come to right top. So likewise the centroids got rearranged such that our solution is optimal. It's near optimal. There is no guarantee that this will always give the optimal solution, but this meta heuristics take us as close to the optimal solution as possible. By tweaking these parameters on the genetic algorithm, you can have really comprehensive solution. But if you want the best solution to come, generally it takes longer time. So you need to balance out between the runtime and the optimal solution, how much optimal you need the solution to be. So after that, to generate the final list of cluster IDs, you will just have to run this code. You can add this code to the earlier dataset to get the comprehensive, collated cluster IDs for each data point. So this is how we do capacitated k-means clustering. We need to use a meta heuristic like genetic algorithm or simulated annealing algorithm to solve this problem. Thank you very much. If you want to connect with me, please ping me on LinkedIn. Link is in the description. Have a nice day.